Let's go.
Morning, Charlie. We're back. I'm back in the UK after a hard week in South Africa.
Yes.
Good to see you. How are you?
Good, Grant. I'm very well. Yeah, pity we didn't get to connect while you were here, but yeah, I've also been busy. We had another event on Friday for Conscious Wi-Fi. It was amazing. It was a Flow Hackers event, so giving people, educating and empowering people, to access flow, because just a little. We give people tools to navigate this reality. That's basically it. A lot of people navigate reality with a lot of resistance. So. It was a lacquer one. It was a good weekend. The feedback's amazing. I've got people now offering me event space to do more of these events all over Gauteng, which is great. And it was a nice. I got to connect to the family on Sunday. We dug some sweet potatoes out of the garden, and we just made some food from the garden, which was quite special. The kids got involved, so it was a lot of fun.
That's a power weekend. And I did see a little bit on social media about your event that you had on Friday, and that's with the headphones that you've spoken to me about before as well. Is that the same sort of meditation? You're taking through a guided meditation?
Yeah. So what we do, if I've got these radio frequency headsets, that broadcasts. I've got a microphone. Then I take people through a grounding experience. We do a little guided meditation to get people just to connect. After a week of busyness and work and stress, we get people to kind of just ground themselves, center themselves, connect with their own heart. The theme for this Friday was actually the alchemy of play. So we taught people about the power of using play to lift your vibrational frequency and expand your bandwidth and get into flow state. So it was pretty radical.
That's very cool. And I mean, I can think of no better timing than a Friday afternoon to do it, especially after,
exactly.
I as you know, I was back in Johannesburg and Cape Town last week, and it was crazy. Like, you can feel how busy it's got. You can feel how in and out, and people are hectic again at the moment. I think when everything opens up now, which it's busy doing, people are getting a little bit more frantic, which again brings in all that sort of anxiety, that rush, that back to, and I think, just thinking of Pat now, but I mean, it could be a concern that people forget how to slow down.
Yeah.
So offering them those sort of opportunities, I think that's massive. And is it open to everyone?
Yeah, it's actually open to everyone. I had a guy bring his 11-year-old to the class, and it was quite beautiful. He was an attorney in his early 50s, and it was his first event of this kind. As an attorney, it's serious work. And a lot of the people are actually in the corporate space, and they come to these events, and the first 5-10 minutes they don't know what to expect. They're quite uncomfortable, because now they've got these headsets on. But once they've got their headsets on, it's like they get into their own space and they don't care about who's around them anymore. And from there, we get the people to get out of their comfort zone a bit and actually have fun, Grant. We like I said, we teach tools of empowerment. It's called the Conscious Wi-Fi Enlightened Success Systems, So we sell it as a system for success, but we teach people actually how to be present and slow down. And remember that it's all a game, and we need to have fun as well, even in our workspace. You can get very serious about things, and there are matters that require a certain focus, but bringing a certain playfulness into your work, into your family, it's so important. It's so vital. And what I've realized, Grant, is in these events, a lot of people want to create things, right? But they're doing it from a place of not being happy where they are at the moment, thinking that the future is going to be better. But what they do then is, what we do is, when we say the future is going to be better, we're sowing seeds into our own subconscious mind that the now is not good enough. So no matter what you achieve from that space, it's never going to be good enough until you really get into what we call the magnetic moment, that the now is good enough, and from that space to create, because then you create from a state of flow instead of a state of anxiety.
So, I mean, what you're saying is, and I mean, you hear it all the time, you know, when we land this deal, when we get this contract, when we, I don't know, win the lotto, we're going to be happy. We're going to be good. We're going to be safe. We're going to be secure. Instead of maybe just sort of, well, as you say, sort of going, okay, I'm good. We've done amazing things. We're at a really good level. And I mean, I used a hashtag this weekend on my stuff, and and I like it. I used to use it a lot at fightstars, next level, because it is next level, you know. So, and I mean, you could probably put that back to a computer game, which is what, you know, you're off to the next level now. You've got to compete, and start moving forward. So, making sure that you're grounded and that you're happy where you currently are.
You got to enjoy the level you're at.
Do you spend time with them, going through where they are? Where are you now? I mean, that's why they come to see you. I'm hectically unhappy, Charlie. I need to understand where you are with regards to your life and why you're unhappy, perhaps, and then get that foundation. And then, you know, I suppose it's like anything, a good foundation, and then you can move forward.
Yeah, Grant. So what I've noticed is, you know, there's this big talk about presence, about being in the present moment. You know, a lot of these masters, Eckhart Tolle speaks about the power of now. The thing is, we're always in the present moment, right? But what gives people the illusion of not being present is actually their resistance to the present moment, you know, because they're not happy. You know, they think like happiness is on the next level, right? But you got to be happy with the level you're at before you can actually move on to the next level. So it's removing that resistance that you have for the present moment or regarding the present moment, right? And getting satisfied with who you are, where you are right now before you can create change. Because otherwise that change is just a carrot that you dangle, and it's you're never going to get it, you know. So it's getting into a state where there's no resistance to the present moment, right? We're always present, but it's the degrees of resistance that determines your level of joy.
And that's a lot of work. I mean, that's a lot. And we always say it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a stupid thing to say, but understanding your present situation is actually the tools that you've given us, that you give people, that they can actually identify, like you say, where they are and how they, but also start building that plan on how they're going to get to the next level. And start to understand those sort of steps. It's an exciting process. It's a hard process. I mean, it's not for sissies. Let's be honest. Like we were talking off just before we came online there. Like you've got, when you got to reach inside and actually draw all these things out. Like it can get a little bit like, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore, kind of, you know. And but the progress is amazing. And when you look back, you know, and it's something I talk a lot about, is that, you know, hold on. When people are frustrated, or they go, actually, when people tell me one slogan, it's not moving fast enough, or one state, it's not moving fast enough, I always go to my draw card, which is, okay, let's stop. Let's look back. How far do you want to look back? You know, let's look back at all the work you've done. Let's look back at how far you've come. Where were you 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 weeks ago, wherever you sort of started on this journey, and how far have you come? Now tell me, is it quick enough or not?
Yeah, Grant, I think it's all about getting honest with yourself. You know, people tend to not be real with themselves. They lie to themselves, you know, by not taking a careful look at actually where they are, you know. And it's a powerful thing, you know. If you look back, a lot of people, like, I see them and they're unhappy, you know. And I say to them, look back 5 years, you know. The stuff that you have now are probably stuff that you prayed for and wished for a couple of years ago. So just take some time, get real with yourself, and honor yourself for where you are, right? And that brings about a sense of relief. And then they look back and then they think like, okay, yeah, I'm in this job, I'm in this position, I'm in this relationship, or whatever it is. It might not be a great or ideal situation, but when they look back, you know, there's generally always a sense of progress most of the time, you know. But it's getting real with yourself, getting honest with yourself, you know, not just about the negative stuff, but about the good stuff as well. and bring that into balance so that you have clarity about where you are, because only when you are true and honest with yourself about where you are, then you can create a blueprint about where you want to go.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you've got to know, and I mean, again, I talk a lot about destination, clarity, understand where you want to be, put your North Star out there, understand that you've got, it's not a straight line and all that. But to your point, like if you're not comfortable, and comfortable is the wrong word, I suppose, honest and real about where you currently sit at the moment, and in a good and bad, because there's things you want to change. Let's be honest. Like otherwise, you're not going through this thing. If ignorance and bliss, you're happy. You carry on moving, and you don't know any better. That's also cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Carry on with your life. But if you know and you can feel that there's something better or something more powerful out there that's pulling you, and you need to figure out what it is and how to get there, you have to start the journey, and you have to actually start working, and you can start from anywhere. I think that's what we're saying. You can start from anywhere, which is really great.
Absolutely. As long as you're willing to be honest about where you are, and the willingness to start, the willingness to make a certain progress, and that willingness, even if you don't have clarity, if you're not certain of exactly where you want to go, if the willingness is there, right, everything will be revealed. Because where attention goes, energy flows. So if you've got willingness, like, okay, cool, I want to progress, I want to do stuff, the answers will come. And I think you need to just be patient with yourself.
Oh, that's a big one. I mean, again, I brag at the moment that I finally learned patience. I mean, I'm 50, and I
took you a while.
I bet you my family will disagree with me still, but I do feel like I've learned how to be a little bit more patient than I definitely was. I mean, there's situations even this week when I traveled where I was confronted with different situations and circumstances, and I can tell you now, and I was with people that have known me for a long, long time, and they actually commented afterwards that sure, the Grant of old would have perhaps lost his shit and brought the place down. You just kind of guided your way through, and we got a great result at the end, sort of thing. So I can definitely see the change, and I mean, it is patience. Like, it's taken a long time. When I talk about, and I did quite a lot of talking this last week as well to people on where we are and where we're going and where the program's going, and it's been really exciting for me as well, because I've been trying to put this whole thing in place and work it all out. But when I talk about this journey, I mean, it's not just now 3 weeks, everything's good. It's been a while. It's been like we've been on this road for a long time, man.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And I think another thing is when it comes to patience, right? And I've heard this, like one of my mentors actually told me, is like, when you are present, right, with where you are, and you're satisfied with where you are, then you don't even need patience, because if you are certain in where you're going, and you look at the most charismatic leaders and visionaries, people who created massive things in this life-changing stuff, people who were so certain about what they want to bring to life, right? They were absolutely, that certainty allowed them to have patience, because when you doubt, it's kind of you need to force things to happen. But when you are certain, right, when you are certain about where you're going, it's going to come. So that brings about that patience, being present and being certain about where you're heading, and trusting yourself. Right? I think patience, there's so many things that actually goes into just creating that patience. I don't think it's just something that you necessarily choose. I think there's a lot of things that go into it, like that certainty of where you're going, and being okay with where you are, being present, having no resistance to where you are. I think that's like quite a nice balance, to bring about that sense of patience.
I mean, I think it's an incredibly tough one, because also we live in an age that everything's just at our fingertips. I mean, we want food, we order it. We want anything, we just order it. So to be patient with yourself and not to watch your growth, and not to, the generation we deal with, wow, the different generations, obviously. But I mean, like, if I look at my oldest son, that 18, 19-year-old, like, they don't even want to wait till the end of a movie to find out what happened. They'll be Googling before they even, like, they just want that instant gratification. And to find patience in that world, I think, is going to be tough, or is it something that we've developed in these kids? Hopefully, I'm just thinking out patch as we go. I remember doing an experiment years ago with Carl, and where someone told me, like, to put a chocolate down and to tell them that you can have it now, we can have the packet later.
Yeah.
And see what happened. And he actually waited and had the packet later. But that's maybe because his love of chocolate was so good, so big. But it's that patience that I think is going to be really, really hard, because I think a lot of, but I also, again, when I was a youngster, I had no patience. Also, I wanted everything yesterday. So I don't think that's necessarily changed. It's just a lot easier to get gratification at the moment, or some form of gratification at the moment.
Yeah, Grant. I mean, instant gratification it's actually a dangerous thing, right? Because of the world we live in, like you said, convenience, instant gratification, everything is a type of a button away, or a Hey Siri or Hey Google. In terms of accessing information, but ordering food, my Siri actually just like went on here. Sorry, quite incredible. So I think it comes down to self-awareness. Grant, I think self-awareness is it's obviously lacking in a lot of spaces, right? And like, people ask me, like, okay, cool, what is self-awareness? It's like, once again, what are my thought processes? Like, why am I seeking instant gratification? Why don't I just want to wait? Why can't I just be okay with what's happening now? Self-awareness is absolute foundation in any kind of personal development work. You need to be real with yourself and be aware of your processes, how you relate to things, how you relate to yourself. And in this fast-paced world, there's a natural disconnection that happens. People to disconnect from that self-awareness because they get caught up. There's pressures. There's convenience. So people can very easily get lost. And lost without themselves. Not having that self-awareness. So it's incredibly important to have a tool or a system, like meditation, like journaling, like having a system in place so that you can keep yourself in check, actually, so that you can be a high functioning individual, because that's what it's all about. We need to function, and what goes into being a high functional human being, mental health, emotional health, physical health. These things are important. In the bubble of self-awareness, because with self-awareness, we can realize, like, okay, where I'm out of alignment, where am I lacking energy? Okay, cool. It's I need to look after my physical body. All right. Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling stressed or depressed? Okay, cool. What tools do I need to incorporate to look after my mental and emotional health? Self-awareness is absolutely essential, but there's so much that goes into it, but you can simplify it. Let's put a 10-minute or 15-minute meditation protocol each day and each evening, and journal about how I'm feeling, how I responded, where I reacted, so that I can be honest with myself and move forward from there.
Yep. And again, 100%. And as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, like, I've had people that have had, we don't meditate, we don't want to, like, we don't journal, don't even, and it's like, sure, okay. But funny enough, I managed to chat to someone 2 weeks ago, and I got them to exercise. Just to exercise, and I smile because it's the same form of, it's a form of meditation. Like,
absolutely,
it's a form of meditation, and it's not seen as a meditation. But, and I say that because I went on Monday evening, and I was really tired from the travel, stressful week ahead, all of that, and I went to the hotel gym, and I trained, and then on Tuesday morning I couldn't get out of bed for my well, we were doing a call. I couldn't get out of bed for the call, but I felt so good after that.
Yeah.
So good after that training session, and that and actually working through everything. And I could honestly, if I really had to be truthful to myself, could say I was stuck at that present time, because there was nothing that I'd done, and I had done my work, I'd done but I was stuck. And just by flipping it and going and actually doing, 40 minutes worth of just exercising and sweating and getting your mind right, and it's so hilarious, because it is actually, I just followed my own advice, and it does definitely work. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to sit cross legs facing the sun, or with your
Exactly.
body do this and have your whatever out, and
Yeah.
that you can go and do something. You can find your own space to meditate. It doesn't mean
Absolutely.
a traditional sort of meditation that you have to look at, because a lot of people battle with that.
Yes.
So I think it's funny, because the people that have resisted, well, some people that have not resisted, but like not really my thing, they actually meditate a lot in other ways already. They just
Yeah.
don't call it that, which is really cool.
No, absolutely. Like I think anything that you do that gets you out of your head
Yeah,
is a meditation. So when you get into the body, when you get into the present moment, that is meditation. Whether it's going for a walk with your dog, going for a workout,
yeah,
getting on a canoe and going for a little row. When it's you and yourself, and you get to sit with your own thoughts and be aware of your thoughts, instead of identifying with the thoughts and getting so caught up in it.
yeah.
So yeah, there's many forms, of what I like to call this actually self-love. Grant, a lot of people think self-love is eating a piece of chocolate cake, or taking a bubble bath. Self-love is giving yourself, it's giving yourself that disciplined time that's going to allow you to function as a higher performing individual. That's what it is. A lot of people see self-love as pampering, where I see it as discipline. When you are disciplined to give yourself that time that's going to allow you to function better, show up better, feel better, that's what it's all about. And I'm not saying that it's not good to have a piece of chocolate cake or have a bath. I love both of those things, but I think people sometimes can blur the lines between self-love and self-sabotage.
I was just going to say, I love that, because I'm actually going to change, because I've been yeah, this food battle. I mean, I love food 100%, and now my big intent this year is to get back into shape, and so the training started, all that. But I'm gonna flip what you've just said, and I'm gonna say, cool, my self-love is my discipline, because I'm really disciplined.
Yeah.
And I have, as I'm thinking, my self-love is that treat at the end of the day, that chocolate, that, I mean, I should have taken a picture, but I didn't. But when I arrived back from South Africa, I emptied the case out, and it was hilarious, because there's diet pills that we get from South Africa that we really like. And they help us get on our way to getting into a good state, or a good start of getting in this journey of losing weight.
Yeah.
Diet pills, Myprodol, an immune tablet, and then about 4,000 chocolates. And I was like, sure, that's a great picture for Instagram, like, how are we going to do this? We're ready to eat healthy, and there's like 4,000 chocolates there. So
it's interesting.
I'm definitely gonna flip it on its head now, and try that approach of my self-love being my discipline, and move forward on that sort of program. I must tell you though, and again, like, we're going to go into it a lot deeper as we move forward, but exercise and training not only makes you feel better, but also helps you with your discipline, and breaking that barrier, getting out. Whenever I'm exercising and whenever I'm training, my day just seems so much more powerful. My decisions, my emotions, and everything. So I think, we come from that background. We train. We've trained crazy before, and getting that right for me is like so critical. And I love. I watched what Pietro had done this with his Fighting Fit gym, and what's going on within the MMA space, and it's so important that we get that message out as well, is that people need to train and get going, and it helps your health. It helps your mindset. Definitely.
Absolutely. And you know, people sometimes neglect it. You know, I've neglected it myself in the past. And then what I've realized slowly, you know, without immediately realizing it, is that my mental performance went down. You know, emotionally, I was getting more triggered. I was more reactive. You know, I wasn't, you know, I just, there was more resistance because the body wasn't, you know, like getting what it needed. You know, it's so important to look at this whole thing, you know, holistically. You know, if you look at any peak performer, they are in good shape. You know, if you look like I like using Tony Robbins. You know, he eats an alkaline diet. You know, he does martial arts, looks after the body. He's even started creating programs. You know, like as a mind coach, as a high performance mind coach, he's actually started creating like health programs because it cannot be left out.
Yeah.
It cannot be left out, you know. And I know this is not what we talk about, but if you look at all the athletes back in the day, EFC, the Fight Star, you know, like those guys were in peak shape, you know, and mentally they were sharp, you know, like emotionally, you know, sometimes, you know, there were a bit of issues because I mean the fighting was quite intense,
I'd have to
but
question you on the mental side as well, Charlie. I met a
yeah.
lot of nutters. Eh?
Yeah, no, absolutely, like absolutely. But I mean, when it came to focus, you know, Grant, and focus and concentration, you know, that there was no lack of that because the physical body, you know, was so well trained. You know, the minds were strong. Yes, like there was a lot of, you know, let's say traumas. You know, a lot of people getting into pro fighting. You know, there's childhood trauma. You know, which is a lot of stuff that I had to work through using plant medicines, ayahuasca, and various other modalities, which eventually led me to start to study NLP and neurovibrational therapy and hypnotherapy, which eventually started getting me to create these programs and getting into the personal development space. So I think it was a beautiful journey. It was a very interesting one. And I'm excited to chat more about the fight game. I know you've got some other people you're going to invite to the podcast, and I know it's going to be quite something to hear the different stories and the sides of the coin.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be really interesting, and I've actually put quite a lot of thought into it, which is it's something I've wanted to do all the time, and I've spoken about it a lot. Is I'm going to go back and look at the history of mixed martial arts in South Africa.
Yes.
And I'm going to chat. I want to chat to people where they are, what they're doing, and I want to get it out there and going. So I'm super excited. I know you're keen to get on the journey as well, and let's go and figure out where everyone is and how they're doing, and where they've grown to, you know, and what their sort of stories are. I think we can learn a lot of lessons going forward, and I've learned so much just by talking to people on this sort of level, on where we go, on where they are, and what are their struggles. So I'm super excited, and I'm looking forward to it, John.
Yeah, Grant. So I've got a question for you. You mentioned Pietro and the fighting fit thing. Like, do you want to just like share a little bit more about what that's about? And you know,
Yeah,
like,
so I think, yeah, I mean, Pietro, everyone knows Pietro. He's been, Pietro and I have been together since 2007, I would say, around about then.
yeah.
You know, I met Pietro through mixed martial arts.
And were you guys both involved in Fight Star? The
Yeah,
that was the
so
largest promotion in South Africa.
I met Pietro. He ran a program, and I mean, he ran a program called Fighting Fit, where he looked after the guys from the Twilight Zone in Hillbrow, Twilight Boys Home. And what he would do is he would do training in Kensington, and he would train the community, and the people would come down to the army base on Sunday morning, and they would do a boot camp. And out of those donations, he would use to his petrol, and then he would run the El Grande. And the EFC were a great backer, and actually still are a great backer of his program. And they would give the boys tickets, and they would go. And I remember Calvin would buy them Kentucky, and they would get on a bus, and they'd go to EFC, and they would watch all the fighters, and then they would come and train. And if you remember, he used to do that El Grande, which was that big tire that they had to flip, and that obstacle course. And Pietro wanted to do a promotion, and funny enough, Pietro was a boxing promoter before that.
Okay.
He was involved in some big fights actually, and I was looking at starting a fight promotion. I had Wilder Warriors, and I wanted to do a fight promotion. It was something that was burning inside of me to try it and to do it. And Pietro and I got together the one day, and he said he wants to do this, and I said I want to do it, and he said, well, he's got a name already. If I'm keen to get involved, let's go. And he gave me the logo, and I love Fightstar, the name and the logo. I loved it straight away. And we did a day, and Pietro and I were chatting about it the other day. We did a day on I think it was the 1st of December, and I can't remember, 2011, maybe 12, maybe 11. And we did a day where we did the El Grande Fitness Challenge in the morning. We did a grappling tournament, and we raised money for one of my athletes' brothers that died, or family member that died, and we at Wilder Warriors, Bradley, and we raised money off the grappling tournament. I think Warren King and Lennon helped me big time with that, set that up, and we did a grappling tournament. And then we did Fightstars 1, which was in the Army base in Kensington.
In Kensington, yeah.
We had a hall we could fit. I think we could fit 150 to 200 chairs in, if I remember correctly. It was our first one. We did the catering. We did it with Jason Poseidonite. We did the catering. We did the door. We did everything. We set everything up. We had a lot of help from and the association was fighting big time. Yes. Marius Lotta and
I remember the conflict.
Mario and Brad Block, and we didn't know. Anyway, we went with Marius or Mario. I can't remember. We went with someone in the association. And we put this event on, and we had our main fight of the night was BB, who was 6-0.
Yeah.
He fought out of Tyron Rightfoot's gym in the south of Joburg.
Yeah.
And we brought Chris Bright's youngster up, which was Jody, who was 7-0.
Jody, yes.
And they fought for the first inaugural Fightstar belt that night. And Jody won. I think he I can't actually remember. It's on YouTube. I must go and have a look. Yeah. I think he submitted BB. I can't remember. Yeah. But he won. I remember he won the fight, and he won. And from there, it was just chaos. It was just like, I mean, I remember that it was such a. We had about 500 people there, by the way.
Yes.
I think. I mean, I remember I took 21,000 Rand off my credit card and paid for and did everything.
Yeah.
And I think we made about 8,000 Rand profit or whatever money that on that actual event. We made good money for the development program.
And Grant, that turned into the biggest amateur MMA promotion in Africa. I mean, Fightstar just grew, you know. It's like you guys created such a hype, and you put on amazing fights. I mean, I think of Gordon Rootman and Karen.
Yeah, that was Fightstar 3. That was Fightstar 3. That was at Mandeville.
I was there.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best MMA fights I've seen in my life. I'm talking UFC. I'm talking EFC, and that was an amateur promotion. I mean, the people were off their seats. Some people were on their seats.
Yeah, it was crazy. We learned.
Let's put on a show.
We learned that night that we need barriers around the cage.
Yeah.
We had people hanging on the cage, and unfortunately, you know, we learned, and we took video footage, and I was very adamant about always recording and doing that. And we never got that video footage back. We did a deal with the sponsor, and
wow,
we never got that. So from Fightstar 3 until Fightstar 15, I think it was around about there, that footage was held hostage over our head by one of our sponsors for a long time. And I tried to buy it back 2 years ago, and they wanted 250,000 Rand for it. And I was like, you know, as much as I love Fightstar, and we grew Fightstar, and we really, it was power. It was amazing. It was a really exciting time in mixed martial arts, and it was, you know, it was growing and all that. We never really managed to get the financial model right.
Yes.
So we made good money, and the we always focused on bums and seats.
Yeah.
Bums and seats is really a hard model, you know. It's really a hard model. And I mean, I still remember our main sponsor was Teasers. I remember my son had his 12th, 13th birthday there, and all his mates came home with Teasers shirts and Teasers caps. And the moms were like, seriously? And I was like, okay, sorry, I didn't realize it. And eventually we had to go to Teasers and say, we can't actually use you because we branded ourselves as a family promotion.
Yeah.
They were our main sponsor. You know, they gave us a huge chunk of our money. And eventually we had to make that decision. You know, we can't actually promote you. So we can't add value. But yeah, we grew. I mean, we grew that promotion. Charlie, you were there with a lot of it. A lot of the guys that came, a lot of people that fought in MMA today that are fighting in the EFC, in the UFC. We've had the guys fought, you know. JP Base was our champion, you know, like a lot of people have fought at fightstars and it was a very amazing part of my life, in the sense that that promotion grew. I mean, we did a reality TV show, we did so much. It was really incredibly powerful. It was. And it was such a cool period of MMA history in South Africa. And I really want to capture those moments again. You know, I want to chat to people that were there. EFC, Fightstar, you know, Bradley Block's event, and I think he's still going on. Bradley Block was the Gauteng Fight League. There were so many different promotions that were popping up and trying, and it was competitive. And yeah, it was good fun. So we're going to delve a lot into that. We're going to chat a lot about it. I'm just sitting smiling because it really brings good feelings back. And you know, the funny thing, Charlie, again, if I look back a year ago, it didn't bring such good feelings back. There was a lot of pain as well. It came out of that world, and I think. But that's what I'm really looking forward to bringing out and to delving into. So I suppose if anyone's listening that was involved and that's keen to jump on and chat to us and share their experiences, and it's good or bad, guys, you know, for me, this is about growth and about remembering what we did and where we were when it happened. You know, reach out to me. You can still get me. I'll put everything in the logos.
Beautiful, Grant.
So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, and it's part of the growth. But it's more exciting for me about what we achieved as a community, as a tribe, and how amazing it was. Like, you know, it was really the early days of the sport, and it was, you know, I was explaining to someone else that the most exciting thing for me is that there were no rules. Besides cage fighting that has rules to fight, the actual running of the gyms, the running of the promotions, we were trying to figure all this stuff out. And that's exciting, you know. So it was so much adventure and so much excitement all the time, which was really cool. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we're going to delve into that, and we're really going to grow. And I want to do it. I've made some really important plans on how we get this right, and
that's exciting.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm really excited about it. So yeah, I'm going to be.
No, that's beautiful, Grant. I mean, like speaking about the personal development, you know, which is the path we're on now. You know, mentoring, coaching, and then talking about the fight element, you know, and where we come from. I'm excited to maybe have a chat soon about Awaken Warrior and what we're busy creating. And I think we leave people with a bit of an appetizer and tease them because we're busy working on something, and I'm quite excited about that.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to leave everyone on a little bit of a teaser, but there's some deep diving going on between Charlie and myself with regards to what we want and how we want to get our message across. And we're about to launch it. So, and we're about to get it going. We're about to talk about it.
Yes.
It's really exciting times for us. I'm super excited for the future, Charlie. I think, and again, like for me, it comes across like we're going to put all this out there. But for me, it's about my personal growth and about where I'm going and about what I'd like to achieve and about what I've done. And about who's helped me. And, figuring out a lot of the mistakes we've made as we've gone. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really interesting. And what's really cool is that we're going to put all the content out there, and we're going to grow. And we're going to get together as a tribe again, and we're going to help, which I'm super excited about. Super excited.
Awesome stuff, Grant. Yeah, it was nice chatting. It was nice reminiscing a little bit about fightstars and MMA and EFC, and chatting about states. Chatting about patience and presence and self-love. It was actually we covered quite a bit in this talk, and it was quite a roller coaster. Thank you.
Awesome. It was a great session today, Charlie, and we'll chat to you next week.
Grant, thank you so much. Beautiful chat.